Welcome to Community Spotlight, a production of CMAP TV. Community Spotlight is a series designed to showcase local businesses and organizations and highlight local profiles. People in your community who are doing great things, have done great things, or have great things to share. Welcome. We hope that you enjoy our show.
My name is Toni Bowles, and my business is the Neon Exchange. The Neon Exchange is a multi-use building that was converted. It's 102 years old. The top floor used to be hotel rooms. Now they're private office space. The primary floor, which is the first floor, is now event space and co-working space. I was in a place where I was doing the same old, working a government job, and I needed something a little more meaningful and purposeful. So I took my retirement money, bought an old building, refabbed it, renovated it over 2 years. Sounds simple, but it wasn't. And opened it up to my ideal event space and workspace, which is a mixed-use space that dedicates the entire building to inspiration and collaboration and all things that come with community and a sense of pride. It used to be a hotel built in 1921. The hotel on the top floor had hotel rooms and bathrooms. The first floor was a restaurant, and on the other side of a wall would be what would be the bar, and that was the adult area. The opposing side of the building had a barber shop, I believe, and other mixed-use retail. And there was a check-in desk on the first floor, and it was very actively used. This particular street right here before freeways came through was the main thoroughfare for the city of Gilroy, leading all the way to San Jose. And so it was very active. There were a lot of people who stopped in, who ate, who used the hotel to spend the night, stopped at the bar. So it was a very actively used space. My mission was to create a sense of belonging and community. I did not want to make it exclusive. I wanted to make it, on the contrary, inclusive. Inclusive in the sense that all walks of life, all socioeconomic backgrounds, all cultural identities, regardless of your age, that you felt like it was a place of inspiration and belonging. So in order for me to do that, I had to live that. And that was a very difficult thing for me to find and investigate. But I went on a year-long journey of figuring out what that looked like. And it came to fruition naturally as I got here and as I made friends with business owners and Rotarians, chamber members, my parish, schools, friends in the community, and just paying attention to what they were asking for and the things that they needed, which coincided with the things that I needed in my own life at the time. So that was pretty much it. So I'm a kid that grew up in the 90s, and I love neon colors. So at first it was quite literal. Now it is more meaningful in the sense that neon or neo is of Greek origin, which means new and bright and vivid, and exchange is the giving and receiving of things. So in my eyes, this building is a new, bright way of giving and receiving inspiration and support and all the things that you're craving. My inspiration comes from walking the halls and looking at the curvature and the architecture of the building, trying to accentuate it, trying to bring out areas that need more attention. I used a lot of color and texture, art, wallpaper, metal finishes, lighting, different fabrics. And so it was important for me to take 102 years old worth of history and preserve it. And so you'll see throughout the building, you'll see stained panels and corbels and beams that have been here for 102 years. But you're also gonna see new installations of lighting fixtures and wallpapers, and that's an intent. The intent behind that was to marry the old with the new. And so I figured if we can pay respect and homage to the antiquity of the building, but we could also integrate things that our youth and a more youthful generation would appreciate, that maybe people would come and visit and appreciate both the old and the new together. So it was a very conscious effort in trying to find ways to make it Instagrammable, but yet pay respect to the antiquity of 102 years old. The local artists that we've been able to showcase are all my friends that I've made over time through the Gilroy Arts Roundtable, through collaborative projects. During Purple Tier of the pandemic, a local artist, Whitney Pintello, and I came together to host a healing mural on the back of my building. Over 7 days and 40 women and children that participated, we were able to create a 900 square foot mural of amateur artists as well as professional artists coming to paint. And for some of them, it was the very first time that they had an opportunity to socialize together coming out of the pandemic. So things like that, I'm very much attuned to. How can we create ways for other people to get experience and to get their hands on projects, whether you're new or whether you're a familiar artist. That's just one particular way that I've been able to work with one local artist. I've been able to work with other artists on graphic design and digital projects. Other ways have come through with purchasing art from local artists. There are several artists in my Neon library that are local artists that I've been able to patronize and to showcase and shed light on. And so it's really important for me that I fill these walls with as many local artists as possible. It feels very heartwarming to have had over 300 people show up throughout the day. I feel a sense of gratitude that I'm still standing, that I survived, that I not only survived, but that I thrived through the pandemic. It was a wild ride, and one of these days I'm going to put it down into a 300-page book, start to finish, because it was crazy. And at times, I thought it was the end of the road. And just when I thought it was the end of the road, someone else would call and say, "Hey, Toni, we need this, or can you help us with this?" And I kept saying yes. And the more that I kept saying yes, and the more that I was community-centric, and provided services that were essential at the time or that were needed by the community, not necessarily for revenue generating purposes, but just because it was the right thing to do. It helped me with my mental health in terms of really focusing my attention through a really tough time. And it also allowed me to create some really deep, meaningful relationships. So coming out of COVID, there was a lot of support afterwards for all the things that I did that were through COVID and post-COVID. Well, as you can see behind me, it's Christmas. So during the pandemic, the YMCA of South County, Mount Madonna YMCA, asked if I could do a COVID-safe toy drive with them, and I did. And it was very successful through the pandemic. So now, for 3 years, we've been able to grow this House of Toys toy drive, which is the Gilroy City Toy Drive. It serves all families, regardless of socioeconomic background, that just need a little bit of assistance for the holidays. We've been able to serve about 500 families and provide almost 3,000 toys. Hopefully we'll break that goal this year, but that's just one of the examples of the ways that I've been able to forge relationships for the greater good of the community. Also, Pit Stop Outreach started in my kitchen, serving the homeless during the pandemic, and they've grown up to have their own space and have several volunteers now. Other relationships are with the Gilroy Foundation, Gavilan, some of the local schools. This week, actually, Gilroy Prep is hosting their winter formal here. So we've been able to make relationships with not only private for-profit business, but also our local schools, our hospitals, our nonprofits, trying to create space for everyone to make special moments for each of them. So a short-term goal was to finish my back patio, which I finally did. So we'll have some really cool outdoor space coming up soon in the spring. A big lofty goal for me is to finish my book and to print that in about 2 years. So I'm hoping to tell the story of why someone like me would cash in everything she had to buy an old building and fix it up just so she could find a purpose and a meaning in her life. I hope to finish that. I hope one day it'll be made into a movie, which is a pretty lofty goal. But other than that, I think that book is going to trigger a speaking engagement where I'll be speaking on the issues that were presented in the book and how to overcome those issues and obstacles. So for now, personal goals would be to finish the book, to help my 2 brilliant kids finish high school and get into college, and just keep investing in our local community, because I think Gilroy has a lot to offer, a lot of untapped potential. And if we just kind of lean into those very artistic-led untapped potentials, I think we're going to see a whole new Gilroy in about 3 or 5 years. My name is Toni Bowles, and my business is the Neon Exchange.